I wanted to ask you today about aggression, particularly in boys, and uh, what's going on when a boy shows some aggressive behavior. What's happening for that kid?
Yeah, in general, when any child is showing aggressive behavior, it's a sign that there's some fear happening. I would say like 99, if I could measure, which I can't, but I would say something like, 99% of the time, there's fear happening. And I think that the reason that that's really important is if we can remember that, it's much easier for us to respond peacefully, which is I know what the parents who are watching this are wanting to do.
Yeah. And then are there ways that parents respond that are like not helpful? And then what are the ways that are helpful that they could respond to that aggression and that fear?
Yeah, I think with aggression, we tend to forget that what our child is trying to communicate with us is that there's a problem and that they need help, right? And so instead, we tend to get scared and we tend to think that they are trying to make our life hard, or they are purposefully doing this, or we think like, I know they can do better because I've seen them do better, those types of things. And that gets kind of sticky because when we get ourselves in that mindset, it's really hard to be peaceful, right? It's like all we want to do is seek revenge. And so that mindset shift from um, my child won't behave the way he is supposed to, or he knows, like he won't stop hitting his brother, or he won't stop spitting in my face, or whatever the thing is, right? We need to trade that in for he can't. Okay. He can't in this moment. And that doesn't mean that he can't ever, or he couldn't ever, or that he won't in the future. But right now, in this moment, in this present moment, he is showing us that he is not able to. And when we can look at it that way, it's much easier for us to step in as the adult, right? Okay, my child is showing me that he's struggling. I know, and this is sort of a premise that I work on with parents, is like, I know that my boy is doing the best he can always. The best he's showing me right now sucks. It's horrible, right? So if that's horrible, then I'm the one who has to show up differently. It's a mindset shift.
Yeah.
I didn't answer all of your question, but that was sort of a lead in.
Yeah. No, that was great. And then what does that look like when like a parent is trying to deal with their own fears that are welling up? How do they shift like from that fear to a more compassionate, like peaceful response?
Yeah. So one is the mindset shift, but really to help aggression, there's like all these different puzzle pieces that we have to put together. And one of them is really working on our own triggers, right? Now, one thing about boys and aggression that's different about girls and aggression is that we tend to be much more fearful of boys. Fear is never going to lead us to a good place, right? The reality is, yes, there are all sorts of men who are perpetrating all sorts of violent acts, but not everybody. And your child is not likely going to be one of them if we address the aggressive behaviors when he's little. And that's one of the things I like to say about parents of young boys is that we have an amazing opportunity, right? So we get really scared. We get really scared that our boy is going to be the next school shooter, that he's going to be the next, college kid to rape the woman behind the dumpster, like all of those things. Like these are parents coming to me with little kids who are hitting or kicking or throwing chairs or whatever they're doing. And this is the fear. This is the fear that parents have. So one of the things that we have to do is work on our fears, because there's nothing worse for a child who is struggling with aggression, i.e. struggling with big fears, than to have an adult who they're turning towards for support be scared of them, right? So they're just like, I'm scaring the heck out of myself right now with my behaviors. I can't control myself. And now this adult is also scared of me. I must really be scary, right? And so I always thought about making a t-shirt that says, but nobody would wear the t-shirt, but just the slogan of that says, I'm not scary, I'm scared. And that's kind of how I want people to see these little boys. It's like, they're not scary, they're scared. And we need to work on our fears so that we can show up. So how does that look like, Cecilia? That could look like, all sorts of different things. For me, it looks like listening partnerships, which we write about in our book and which I teach in my Playhouse community, right? We look at um, listening to another parent in a non-judgmental way without giving advice. It's a safe space to feel, to heal through the release of emotion. But there are lots of ways that we can work on ourselves, right? Some people find meditation helpful. Some people find yoga practices helpful, therapy. I mean, everybody can find their own way, but we can't skip that step. We can't show up to an aggressive boy, terrified of him, and expect that we're going to be able to help. So we have to address that piece of the puzzle. Because I can give you, all these tools to use and, do this and do that and do the other thing. But if you're scared when he comes at you, whether it's scared of him in the moment or terrified for his future, he feels that. And then it doesn't matter what you do. It's not going to work very well.